Ladies and gentlemen, from the time that I called this meeting to order to when I just hit the gavel, that was 5 minutes. During that time is when a lot of you were sitting in your living rooms, watching TV, getting ready for dinner. A lot of you were going about your day, maybe finishing a round of golf, doing whatever it is. During that 5 minutes is the time that it took for our Horry County Fire and Rescue and Public Safety to respond to the fire at Windsor Green. That was a pretty short period of time from the time we started this meeting to the time I hit that gavel. Those men and women went above and beyond to save the lives of a lot of people that night that they have trained extremely hard for, and that training obviously came in to practice that particular night. We're going to show you a video here real quick and go through a series of things, and then Chief Tanner is going to speak to you, and then we have 2 resolutions that we're going to read tonight. But from this council, I can tell you, we can't say enough about the acts of our men and women and our fire and rescue personnel and our police personnel, the city of Myrtle Beach, the city of Conway, all of those that came and helped in this tragic event that we have. Go ahead, Kelly.
What's the address of your emergency?
Hi, Windsor Green is on fire. It's not my unit, but I'm driving by. It looks like one of the units. I'm sure that somebody else is reporting this.
Actually, no, sir. You're the first call that I'm showing here right now. Can you tell me? Can you tell me which unit it's coming from, honey? Which building? Ma'am, are you inside the building?
Oh yeah, I'm leaving right. I'm leaving now.
I need you to get out. Stay on the phone with me and let me know whether you can get out.
Okay, I'm going out the door. I can hear the fire truck, though. I think I'm okay.
Let me know when you're out the building. I need you to get out as quickly as possible.
I'm out of the building.
You're outside?
I'm on the sidewalk. Oh, God.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
Hi. I'm reporting a fire.
Okay, where at?
It's called Windsor Green.
Okay, I'm sending the fire department to help you now. Stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next. Okay?
Okay.
If it's safe to do so, leave the building, close the doors behind you, and remain outside. Do not try to put out the fire. Do not carry anything out that is on fire, okay? If it's safe to do so, activate the alarm, okay, and to warn others, and do not use an elevator.
I won't.
If it's safe to do so, keep all bystanders away from the area. Assign someone to guide the emergency crews to the general area. Do not approach or enter any hazardous or dangerous areas, okay?
Yep.
And you said the building is
right there.
4970? Go ahead.
Yeah, 4970, Windsor Green. There's people up in the 3rd floor. They're fighting outside of their back balconies.
They're on their back balconies?
Yeah, the front side's on fire, so they're taking it out.
Okay, tell them they're on the way, okay? Tell them we're getting help too.
They're on the way.
We have a lot of
Just take out the screen if you can.
Okay, how many people are injured at this time?
You're okay. There's at least 4 or 5 people on the ground. They had to jump out of the 3rd floor.
People jumped off the 3rd floor?
Yeah, people had to jump off to the 3rd floor.
Okay, are they on scene there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you go flag them down, okay?
Sure.
Alrighty, alright, bye-bye, thank you.
$3901 multi-residential structure fire, 4900 Harvest Drive.
Tag 2, Battalion 2's in.
Okay, Battalion 2, getting multiple calls. We're going to give you TAC 6 off that. Ladder 1's in route.
Copy, Tag 6. You said you had multiple calls on it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Copy, we go to a working fire and hit the second.
Okay. Tag 2, Rescue 3 is on scene.
10-4 Rescue.
Tag 2, Training 4.
Go ahead, Trainer 4.
I know you're busy, man, but you get some county PD to shut down the road coming into Windsor Green from all directions. We got way too much traffic back there. We can't get apparatus in and out. Ladder 106. Ladder 39 on 6.
4 on 6.
23 on 6.
Ladder 39 is 23.
Good, bye.
Thinking about that hydrant at the corner of Farmers and Gateway.
Yeah, Farmers, that's what I'm sure.
Okay, when you get in there, if you see something closer, let me know. If not, we're going to go with that.
Okay. We're definitely on the rabbit. We see fire coming from Gateway, so I'll give you another in just a second.
Battalion 2 is on 6. Communications, you monitoring tag 6?
Go ahead, sir. Engine 4 is on 6, passing Carolina Forest Elementary. Communications, ladder 39. Ladder 39. On the thing, got a 3-story commercial apartment. Got a heavy fire on side A, 3 floors. Average of 23 from on Windsor Green Way. Okay. I'm seeing 3-story heavy fire side A, inch 23. Come to Windsor Green. Come to the
Communications, Battalion 2.
Battalion Chief 2.
On location, Battalion 2 will have the command. Hit a third alarm, send me 2 medic units, 2 additional medic units, and notify the DDQ.
Okay, requesting the third alarm, 2 additional medic units.
Basic 4, I need you to treat patients in Division A behind the BC's buggy.
Simple up there.
Communications, also check with Conway Fire, see if we can get the ladder truck and an engine from Conway.
Okay. Ladder 39, I need ladders to the roof building. I got people trapped. Okay, reporting people trapped. Command ladder 39. Medic 1's on 6.
Copy, medic 1 on 6, when you come in, you're going to be basic care. Basic 4 is triaging patients.
Medic 29's on 6.
29, same traffic.
Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't mention E-911 on purpose at the beginning when I was thanking everyone else. You just saw an inside view of what takes place when a call comes in. And Ms. Hardwick and her team, I tell you, we don't have anyone better there. The calmness that they showed, the precision that they showed between the callers that called in and then back to our first responders was unbelievable. As it said, it takes a whole county to make something like that take place. We are so fortunate that we did not lose any lives on Thursday night. If it had not been for the response and the actions of all these men and women, it could have been much worse than it turned out to be. Without anything further, I'm going to ask Chief Tanner to come up with his presentation, and then we'll have 2 resolutions that we would like to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of County Council. Tonight, we will talk a little bit about incident number 16,739. That is our incident number for this call, 16,739. At 9:14 p.m. on April the 12th, Horry County Fire Rescue was dispatched by the Horry County 911 Center for the report of a structural fire at 4970 Windsor Green Way in Carolina Forest. Multiple 911 calls were received, all reporting a significant fire as well as possible victims in the building. Horry County Fire Rescue units had earlier been training at the old Gander Mountain site and was returning back to their respective stations at that time. When the tones were dropped for the fire, Ladder 39, which is located at 671 Carolina Forest Boulevard, responded with 4 firefighters to the scene and arrived 5 minutes after they were toned out to respond. The latter officer, Lieutenant Shirley, reported a 3-story multifamily building with heavy fire on all 3 floors on side Alpha, which is the front side of the building. He ordered 2 of the firefighters to advance a 2.5-inch attack line to the front of the building to try and locate the occupants in the front. The driver of Ladder 39 began to establish water supply and placed the ladder in operation with the help of Engine 4, who arrived shortly thereafter. Battalion Chief 2, Captain Dennis Picard, called for a second alarm while he was still en route to the scene. based on the information that he was receiving of multiple victims possibly being trapped. Battalion Chief 2 arrived shortly after Ladder 39, and he then assumed command of the fire scene and called for a third alarm, as you heard on the radio transmission, and for additional resources, bringing a ladder and an engine from the city of Conway, and an engine and a ladder and a medic unit and an EMS unit from the city of Myrtle Beach. Unfortunately, in this instance, several victims were forced to jump from the second and third floor balconies to safety due to the volume of smoke and fire in the structure. One of these victims was a 3-year-old child, and the hero in this particular instance was a 16-year-old named Blake Cannon, who had run to the scene from his neighboring apartment. With Blake in place, the father dropped his 3-year-old son to be successfully caught by Blake, and neither sustained any injuries. The timing of Blake being there and catching this child had a direct impact on saving his life. The Ladder 39 lieutenant went to the rear of the building and was met with 2 occupants that were already on the ground since they had jumped, and he witnessed 3 additional occupants jump from the 3rd floor when he got there. He began triage and assessment of the victims on the ground, and 2 were able to crawl away from the building and 3 were unable to move. And he began moving and helping move these victims away from the building and the burning debris. As he was returning to look for more victims, he noticed through a window an occupant on the 2nd floor that appeared to be searching for an open window or door and appeared to him to be in distress. He called for ladders to be brought to the rear of the building to attempt to locate and rescue the occupant. Firefighters from Rescue 2 and Engine 4 placed ladders on the rear of the building, and Rescue 2 firefighter EMT Davis Trussell was told of the location of the occupant, and he climbed the ladder to the 2nd floor and attempted to locate the occupant. The occupant was located in the room lying on the bed and was not responding to verbal commands. Firefighter EMT Trussell moved the occupant to the window and brought her safely down the ladder to the ground, where she was transported to the hospital. He was also able to retrieve her dog. The victim was treated and transported to the hospital to release, I think, some 4 days later. This act by firefighter EMT Trussell was what he would say is just a part of his job, but we call it heroic. This incident escalated into a 3rd alarm fire, and the fire was brought under control within the first half hour after arrival and completely under control several hours later. Initial arriving members treated and transported 8 total victims, all who have survived. We credit the members' training, dedication, and exemplary work to this successful outcome, and we thank our partners from Myrtle Beach Fire Department, the City of Conway Fire Department, the City of Conway Water Department with their assistance. We also want to thank the dispatchers from Horry County 911 for their professionalism to get complete, accurate information and remaining extremely calm under difficult circumstances. You could hear that on the radio transmissions. We also thank the Horry County Police Department for their quick response for crowd and access control, so that emergency vehicles had quick response into the location, and the EMS units had unimpeded transport lanes to get victims to the hospital. And we also want to thank the investigative unit from Horry County Police for assisting and help identifying all of the residents that were there and confirming their locations and assisting in the investigation. Also, we'd like to thank Horry County Council. We want to thank you for taking bold steps to provide us with apparatus, equipment, and personnel to be able to perform these duties in a safe and efficient manner. Lastly, and surely not least, I want to thank the men and women of Horry County Fire Rescue for their dedication to service and their willingness to always, and I mean always, go above and beyond what they're asked to do. They will also say, we're just doing our job. But we also recognize that they are always diligent and they're ready to serve every day. By the way, and as we close here, this was not the only call of that day. This was the 3rd working fire of the day. It started at 5 o'clock in the morning with a mutual aid call to the Myrtle Inland area. Then we had a 2nd alarm fire on Highway 378 in the middle of the day. So all those things happen while we're continuing to work and provide services. Some of these crews were at those other calls during the day as well too. Lastly, we want to thank the Lord for safety of our firefighters and the safety of all the victims who are associated with this call. And what I want to do real quickly is give you a quick rundown of what we really had to respond to this call. There are a total of 24 apparatus on scene. Horry County had 8 engines, 1 ladder truck, 2 tower ladder trucks, 2 rescue companies, 1 squad company, 8 medic units, 1 basic unit, 1 utility unit. We had a total of 4 members of the command staff, 3 battalion chiefs, 2 fire investigators, 4 of our EMS staff in place there, 4 fire training members were there, and 2 members from our EMS training division were there. All total, Horry County Fire Rescue had 92 members on scene at that call. We had mutual aid from the city of Myrtle Beach with an engine, a ladder, and a medic unit, and we had an engine and a ladder truck from the Conway Fire Department. We had 1 helicopter flying overhead, an air medic helicopter, and we had 1 landed on the ground and posted to be there in case we had victims to fly out. So all this happened in that period of time that night. And again, we thank you for your support of us, but more importantly, we thank you for trusting us with the equipment you provided us, but also for all these people in uniform that you see standing around here. They were able to perform the duties here at this incident because of what we have there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Tanner. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank the taxpayers of Horry County too, because it's the taxpayers of Horry County that pay the bill for all this apparatus and everything that we do, that we're afforded to do. So sometimes we hear different things, but when it comes down to this, there's no amount of money that's out there that describes the value of a life to the individuals that were saved that night, and the safety of our firefighters that came out of there with not 1 firefighter injured. That's a great thing, especially a fire of that magnitude. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to ask Blake Cannon if he would please come up, and if you want your family to come with you, would you rest the family please want to come up? Blake, I got to tell you, I'm so proud and honored to stand next to a real hero. You are a hero to me. For what you did on that night, to not even think about it. You just stepped up to the call of duty, and you saved a young child's life that night because of your heroics. If it hadn't have been you being there at that particular time and doing what you did, I would hate to think what the fate would have been. With that being said, Blake, we have a resolution here tonight honoring and recognizing heroism of Blake Cannon in his rescue of a child during the fire at Windsor Green on April 12, 2018. Whereas on April 12, 2018, a 3-alarm fire at Windsor Green began consuming a building adjacent to the residence of teenager Blake Cannon and his family. And whereas Blake Cannon evacuated his building and ran towards the fire to offer assistance to anyone who needed it. Whereas Blake Cannon spotted a family of 4 crowded onto their 3rd floor balcony with no means of egress. And whereas the father of an almost 3-year-old child called out to Blake Cannon to catch the child from the 3rd floor balcony. And whereas Blake Cannon, without regards to his own safety, did catch the child and prevented major injury from occurring to the child. Now therefore be it resolved that Horry County Council goes on record to honor Blake Cannon for his unselfish behavior and heroics while helping a child during the Windsor Green fire of April 12, 2018. And so it be resolved this 17th day of April 2018. Blake, I'm going to give you this. Blake, I also want to give you what we've pegged, Councilman Allen pegged it a while back, but I think we've all kind of coined the phrase now, is Team Horry. And you are officially a part of Team Horry. There's a pin for you to always wear. She's not shy either.
I just want to say thank you to everybody.
Well, thank you. Put the cover of the magazine here. Hang on. Thank you, sir. Perfect. Thank you. Now, I know I'm going to mispronounce this name, but Mrs. Calatristo, are you here? Angela. They said to call her Miss Angela. Did Miss Angela make it here tonight? Yeah, she was just released, so possibly not, but that's okay. Mr. Trussell, if you'd please come forward. There you are. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you. You just heard the chief talk about the heroism of Mr. Davis C. Trussell, one of our own. And we were hoping that Miss Angela could have been here tonight, but she couldn't be. She was going to bring her dog also, because let me tell you, everybody knows what your dog is. That's as close in your family as any of your children are. So not only did Mr. Trussell save her, but also saved the dog's life. We have a resolution honoring and recognizing the heroism and commitment to the duty of a firefighter EMT, Davis C. Trussell, in the exemplary performance of his duties the night of April 12, 2018 at Windsor Green. Whereas on April 12, 2018, firefighter EMT Trussell with Horry County Fire and Rescue was dispatched to a 3-alarm structure fire at Windsor Green. And whereas when firefighter EMT Trussell arrived on the scene with other first responders, the residential structure was consumed with flames and residents had begun jumping from balconies. Whereas firefighter EMT Trussell immediately began assisting to safety injured residents who were on the ground, and whereas a resident of Windsor Green was trapped in a residence unable to open a window while fire and smoke consumed her building. And whereas firefighter EMT Trussell used an extension ladder to break the second-story window and climb into the residence. And whereas firefighter EMT Trussell carried the unresponsive resident down the ladder to safety, rescued her dog, and re-entered the residence to check for more victims. Now, therefore, it be resolved that Horry County Council goes on record to honor firefighter EMT Davis C. Trussell for exemplary performance of his duties in saving the life of that resident and assisting other victims. And so it resolved this 17th day of April, 2018. So congratulations. This is his wife that wanted to come up and be beside him, and you know, we can all say you're married to a hero.
You all right?
Here is also for you our little pennant for Team Horry. I hope you wear it proudly, and thank you for all that you do, and all the men and women for what all of you do. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Gentlemen, we need to go ahead so we can solidify the resolutions. We'll entertain a motion for approval for Resolution R-39-18 and R-40-18. Motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, so be it resolved. Gentlemen, thank y'all so much. I don't think that any of us can thank you enough. We appreciate the hard work and duty, the call to duty for all of you, and we just hope and pray to God that we don't have another tragic incident like that. But I can tell you, for those of you that are sitting here tonight, we got men and women standing ready for the call. Team Horry. Let's hear from them again. We'll go ahead at this time. Anyone that would like to go ahead and leave, I know these guys, men and women, got other things they might want to do, but we'll give you just a minute to do that. And just thank you so much.